The monitoring array drifted in perfect stillness, suspended above the quarantined edge of the Sol system. Its sensors had not recorded anything of consequence in 197 years. Then, on a quiet rotation, every alarm ignited at once. Technician Vralkesh blinked all four eyes at the console. "That can't be right," he muttered, antennae twitching. "Energy surge inside the human quarantine zone, 13 petajoules and rising." His supervisor glided to the station, mandibles clicking. "Probably another asteroid collision. Humans left nothing alive there." "No, sir," Bral said, voice trembling. "The signature, it's patterned. Controlled ignition, not random." A low hum filled the observation deck. The holographic display bloomed with data, power readings climbing in geometric perfection, every pulse synchronized. A symbol appeared amid the noise, transmitted in open frequency: SOL Dominion, access denied. For a moment, no one spoke. The supervisor whispered, "They were supposed to be gone." Within hours, the signal reached the Galactic Council core world. On Helion Prime, under the crystalline dome of the Council Assembly, the galaxy's most powerful species gathered. Holograms flickered across the chamber, showing static-ridden glimpses of massive structures forming inside the quarantine zone, ring-like constructs orbiting Sol, energy lines bright enough to outshine the sun itself. Chancellor Thalcor of the Vroon rose from his throne. His translucent skin reflected the chamber's light, his narrow face unreadable. "Our records state that the humans were exiled 2 centuries ago. Their technology degraded. Their population collapsed. These readings," he leaned forward, claws tapping the console, "are impossible." A dozen voices argued at once, some skeptical, others fearful. Their world was cut off from wormhole access. They were primitive, divided, uncoordinated. Enough. Thalcor's tones silenced the chamber. "Dispatch observation drones. I want confirmation before panic spreads." Across the void, the drones emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Neptune's orbit. They expected silence. What they found instead was order. The Sol system burned with light. Enormous orbital stations surrounded Earth and Mars, each the size of small moons. A glittering lattice of satellites shimmered between planets, connecting them in a living web of data. And far beyond Jupiter, an artificial ring encircled the Sun, a partial Dyson construct, feeding unimaginable energy into colossal shipyards. "Transmission incoming," one drone reported before its feed cut to black. The council chamber froze as the projection stabilized. A human face appeared, female, stern, calm. Her hair was streaked with silver, her uniform bearing no insignia the council recognized. Her voice was steady, unhurried. "To the Galactic Council. 200 years ago, you cast us into isolation, calling it mercy. You feared our ambition. You thought exile would break us. Instead, it made us." Whispers rippled through the hall. "We are no longer a species under your supervision. We are the Sol Dominion. Independent. United. Watching." The feed ended, replaced by the emblem again, a stylized sun split by a human hand gripping the horizon. Thalcor's expression darkened. "So," he said softly, "the humans learned patience." Far from the core worlds, deep within the Dyson Ring citadel known as the Forge, Admiral Maravance stood before a panoramic window overlooking the burning brilliance of the sun. The Forge's mirrored surfaces captured solar fire and bent it into raw power for her fleets. Ships hung in formation, sleek, dark, and alive with quiet purpose. She watched them with the calm detachment of a sculptor examining her masterpiece. Her aide, Commander Liang, approached. "Council probes neutralized. No survivors. Their data won't escape the system." "Good," Mara said. Her voice carried the clipped precision of command. "But the message did. That was deliberate." Liang hesitated. "You're sure revealing ourselves now is wise?" Mara turned to face him. "They needed to see. They think we're the same frightened world they banished. Let them understand what exile forged." She moved to the command console, fingers tracing across holographic projections. Thousands of ships responded to her gesture, fleets orbiting Earth, Mars, Titan. The hum of reactors resonated through the metal beneath her boots. When they closed the wormholes, she continued, we learned to make our own. When they denied us resources, we mined the stars. Every punishment became instruction. Leon nodded, all flickering behind his discipline mask. Project Ascension is ready, Admiral. The gate network is stable. Mara's eyes gleamed in the solar light. Then it's time. Back on Helion Prime, panic had grown into fury. Delegates demanded immediate containment. The Council could not allow an unmonitored empire to form beyond their control. Humanity has violated their exile, one shouted. This is aggression. Falcor listened in silence, talons resting against his chin. Aggression? He murmured. No. This is demonstration. They're sending a message, we endured. He leaned toward the projection, studying every detail of Mara Vance's image. Her uniform bore no ornament, only precision. They've unified, he said quietly. That makes them dangerous. An aide whispered. Shall we prepare a fleet? Falcor smiled thinly. No fleet will enter Sol without my word. I want to know how they built all this. What power sustains them? He turned to the assembly. We will not rush into war with ghosts. Investigate. Observe. Learn. But his words could not suppress the undercurrent of fear spreading across the chamber. For the first time in millennia, the Council had encountered a civilization beyond its control. In the forge, Mara stood in the center of the command bridge, surrounded by holograms of systems once closed to her kind. Every flickering light represented a gateway under construction, a corridor leading outward. Set the frequency, she ordered. A technician's hands flew across the console. Wormhole generator primed. Sol Gate 1 ready for ignition. Begin transmission, Mara said. Her image appeared across countless relay networks, civilian and military, human and alien alike. No encryption. No secrecy. Just clarity. This is Admiral Mara Vance of the Sol Dominion. We remember the day you expelled us. You called us unstable. Dangerous. Unfit to share your stars. You were right about one thing, we are dangerous. Because we learn. Because we adapt. We built what you said was impossible. We turned exile into empire. From this day forward, humanity answers to no council, no decree, no chain but its own. We seek no conquest, but we will not kneel again. She paused, letting silence carry the weight of her words. To those who would trade with us, our gates will open soon. To those who would threaten us, remember your history. We have not forgotten ours. The feed ended. The command bridge remained still, bathed in golden light. Commander Liang broke the silence. The Council will see that as provocation. Mara watched the sun through the viewport. They'll see it as truth. And truth is something they've long forgotten. Outside, Sol Gate 1 ignited, a perfect circle of light forming beyond Pluto, bending reality into a shimmering bridge. Humanity's first self-forged wormhole opened like an eye. Mara felt the deck tremble as power surged through the shipyards. The fleet engines hummed in unison. Admiral, Leon said quietly, what are your orders? The Council's Grand Assembly chamber was chaos wrapped in ceremony. Delegates shouted across the amphitheater, voices overlapping in panic and indignation. The air shimmered with holograms, each replaying fragments of the human broadcast. Mara Vance's calm face flickered above them all, her final words looping like a quiet challenge. We seek no conquest, but we will not kneel again. Every repetition chipped at the illusion of the Council's control. Chancellor Falcor sat unmoving on the dais. The light from Helion Prime's twin suns poured through the glass canopy, refracting across his translucent skin until he seemed carved from liquid crystal. He let the noise wash over him before he finally spoke, voice sharp enough to cut the uproar in half. Silence. The chamber obeyed. Humanity's reemergence is not an isolated matter, Falcor said. It threatens every treaty, every order we have maintained for millennia. They have built weapons beyond our reach and claim sovereignty over every system they once touched. We cannot ignore this. An Arik diplomat rose, feathers bristling. And what would you have us do? Attack the most industrious species in recorded history? They built a Dyson ring under quarantine. What will they build when provoked? Falcor's expression hardened. Fear does not guide policy. Control does. On the far edge of known space, Admiral Mara Vance sat inside the war room aboard SDS Resolution. The room was quiet except for the rhythmic pulse of the holographic display. Spheres of light marked Council fleets along the galactic border. She watched them with clinical calm. Commander Leon entered, placing a report on the table. Council activities increasing. Falcor's mobilizing reconnaissance squadrons. They're probing the periphery of the wormhole network. They'll keep their distance for now, Mara said. They're still deciding whether we're bluffing. Leon folded his hands. And are we? Her lips curved faintly. Do you think I'd bluff with 2 centuries of work behind me? He exhaled, half amused, half uneasy. I suppose not. Across the table, a new hologram shimmered, an incoming communication. A woman's face appeared, sharp-eyed, expression composed. Envoy Erin Vale, hybrid of human and AI interface intelligence, designed for precision diplomacy. Admiral, she greeted. We've received Falcor's summons. The Council requests dialogue on Helion Prime. Requests? Mara repeated. How courteous of them. They framed it as an invitation. Erin continued. But it's clearly an assessment. They want to measure us, our temperament, our limits. Then give them what they came for, Mara said. Go. Speak for the Dominion. Let them see what humanity's become. Erin nodded. And if they threaten war? Then remind them we don't fear isolation anymore. Helion Prime glittered like a crown of glass and gold. When the Dominion envoy's ship descended into the Council's central atrium, thousands gathered to witness. It had been centuries since a human vessel had landed there. Its hull was sleek and unmarked, painted matte black with no visible weapons, only the insignia of the sole Dominion, etched like fire across its side. Erin Vale stepped out, flanked by 2 silent guards. Her movement was fluid, her eyes faintly luminous from the neural lattice beneath her skin. Every alien in the atrium felt the tension. This was no desperate emissary from a backwater species. This was confidence made flesh. Falcor met her at the center of the hall. You stand here without permission, he said. That alone violates the terms of your exile. Erin's expression never shifted. Exile requires obedience. You forfeited that authority when you severed contact. The sole Dominion answers to no council. Murmurs rippled through the gallery. Falcor's jaw tightened. You speak with arrogance unbefitting your position. I speak with the memory of what you did to us, she replied evenly. You called us dangerous because we would not submit. Perhaps you were right. He leaned closer, voice cold. You mistake survival for legitimacy. And you mistake fear for leadership, she said. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then Erin extended a crystalline data shard. Our terms are simple: recognition of the sole Dominion as a sovereign entity, unrestricted trade rights, and a formal end to the human quarantine. In return, we offer access to stabilized wormhole technology. Falcor stared at the shard as though it were a loaded weapon. You would share this freely? Not freely, she said. Fairly. He gestured to the guards. Take it to analysis. When he turned back, his expression was composed but colder. You come offering gifts, yet you carry veiled threats. Tell your admiral that the council will not be bribed into surrender. Erin smiled faintly. Then perhaps she'll persuade you another way. Back aboard SDS Resolution, Mara listened to the recording of the exchange. The words replayed in silence while she stood at the viewport, watching the stars drift past. They'll reject us, Leon said quietly. They always planned to. You knew that. I counted on it, Mara replied. Negotiation was never our goal, it was proof. Now the galaxy sees them for what they are, frightened tyrants hiding behind protocol. Still, Liang said. We risk war before we're ready. Mara turned, eyes like tempered steel. We've been ready since the day they exiled us. An alarm blinked on the console, red urgent. Liang crossed the room, reading quickly. Multiple energy signatures. A Council reconnaissance fleet just breached the Proxima perimeter. 5 vessels. Response time? 30 seconds. Deploy fleet eclipse. Non-lethal containment. Liang frowned. Non-lethal? For now, she said. In the darkness of space near Proxima Centauri, 5 Council ships drifted into the Dominion's border zone. Their captains whispered in disbelief as instruments jammed without warning. The void around them shimmered, then split open. Human warships emerged in silence. Sleek and angular, their hulls absorbed starlight until they looked like moving shadows. There was no battle cry, no warning. Energy rippled once across the black. The Council ships vanished, disintegrated at the atomic level, erased without explosion or trace. Back on resolution, the status report appeared. Contact neutralized. No survivors. No debris. Mara watched the data fade. They wanted to see our hand, she said. Now they have. Liang stood beside her, voice low. What message does this send? The only one they'll understand, she answered. Strength. He hesitated. And what of the worlds that will fear us for it? Her gaze softened, just slightly. Fear is temporary. Order endures. She turned toward the viewport. The wormhole ring outside shimmered with latent power, awaiting command. Signal the Dominion Council, she said. Activate defense protocol. Begin diplomatic withdrawal from all Council channels. The age of permission is over. Liang nodded, then paused. What of Thalcor? Let him believe we seek peace, Mara said. It'll give us time to finish what's coming. As the stars shifted beyond the glass, she folded her hands behind her back. The line between caution and conquest was thin. She could feel it pressing against her every decision. But hesitation had never saved humanity. Resolve had. Prepare the fleet, she said quietly. If they come again, we won't erase them. We'll make them watch. The war began without ceremony. There was no declaration, no trumpet of intent, only a silent shift in the stars. One by one, the Dominion's gates flared open across border systems the Council had long believed unreachable. Through them poured ships of seamless black alloy, gliding like shadows cast by suns. At first, the Council believed it was a raid. Then the transmissions began, recorded messages played across occupied networks. To the citizens of the Council, your systems are not targets. Your rulers are. No explosions followed. Instead, planetary defense grids simply went dark, their command codes overwritten in seconds. Human engineers materialized on conquered worlds, rebuilding infrastructure, restoring power, stabilizing economies the Council had neglected. The Dominion didn't conquer through fire. It converted. Admiral Mara Vance watched it all unfold from the bridge of SDS Resolution, her eyes tracing the cascade of victories flashing across the holographic map. Entire sectors were falling, not through destruction, but through alignment. Humanity wasn't fighting for domination, it was rewriting the galactic hierarchy itself. Commander Liang approached quietly. All 17 frontier systems secured. No civilian casualties reported. Good, Mara said, tone flat but not cold. Every world we rebuild becomes proof that we're not the monsters they painted us to be. Liang studied her a moment. And yet the Council calls it occupation. Mara's gaze stayed on the projection. They mistake order for oppression. A new alert blinked. Hell Ion Prime transmission, Priority 1. Put it through, she ordered. Chancellor Thalcor's face appeared, larger than life, his eyes sunken with fatigue but still burning with pride. The faint hum of evacuation alarms echoed behind him. You've made your point, Admiral, he said, voice tight. You've demonstrated power. But if you continue this course, you'll shatter everything that binds this galaxy together. Mara stepped closer. The galaxy you bound together is a cage, Chancellor. We've simply learned how to open it. And what replaces the cage? He demanded. Your rule? Humanity's dominion? You call this liberation, but every empire begins that way. She didn't flinch. Perhaps. But we remember what it feels like to kneel. That will keep us honest longer than your council ever was. Thalcor's composure cracked. You can't control what you've unleashed. You're awakening things that were meant to sleep. The energy you wield, your singularity drives, were banned for a reason. Mara's brow furrowed. You mean because they make you obsolete? His voice dropped, almost a whisper. Because they draw the attention of the dark beyond the rim. You don't know what listens out there. Before she could respond, the transmission cut out. The hologram flickered and died. Liang frowned. Should I re-establish the link? Mara shook her head. No. Let him keep his ghosts. In the following weeks, the war's tempo accelerated. The Dominion fleets moved with flawless precision, guided by the AIs known as Ascendants, minds grown from human neural patterns, capable of anticipating every maneuver before it happened. The Council's armadas collapsed in silence, outpaced and outthought. Across 1,000 worlds, statues of alien rulers were torn down, not by force, but by citizens themselves. For the first time in recorded history, humanity had not just joined the galactic community, it had remade it. Yet Mara felt no triumph, only a strange quiet ache. One evening, she stood in the observation deck above Earth's rebuilt orbit. The planet gleamed below, oceans clean, continents alive with light, cities stretching like constellations. The homeworld looked peaceful, almost serene. But she knew the peace was temporary. Liang joined her, his reflection mirrored beside hers. The council has collapsed. Thalcor's vanished. Most of their fleets have surrendered. The galaxy is ours, Admiral. Mara's voice was calm, but distant. Ours. Strange word. After so long being denied everything, I thought it would feel different. He looked at her carefully. You've accomplished what no human leader ever dreamed. You've ended the Council's dominion without genocide or ruin. That's more than power, it's legacy. Legacy, she echoed. Or inevitability. History never ends, it only changes who holds the pen. Liang hesitated. You think we'll become what they were? She turned toward him, eyes like steel in the reflected light. Only if we forget why we started. Far away, in the ruins of Helion Prime, Thalcor sat amid shattered glass and the glow of dying servers. The capital burned, its towers reduced to molten skeletons. Yet his eyes were fixed not on the destruction, but on a single pulsating beacon deep in the system's core, an ancient relay reactivating for the first time in eons. He smiled bitterly. They warned us, he murmured. The humans would light the stars too bright. As the relay flared, a ripple spread through subspace, felt in every wormhole, every gate. Dominion fleets reported interference. Navigation systems faltered. On resolution, alarms screamed. Admiral! Liang shouted. Unknown energy readings from the galactic rim, massive gravitational distortion. It's spreading across the network. Mara gripped the railing. Source? Helion Prime, he said. But it's not Council tech. It's older. The holographic map flickered, showing thousands of Dominion gates resonating with the same frequency. The energy patterns formed a spiral, like something vast turning its gaze inward. Mara's chest tightened. Thalcor's warning echoed in her mind. You don't know what listens out there. Shut down the network, she ordered. Impossible, Liang said. The system's self-sustaining. It's drawing power from every gate simultaneously. Then isolate the forge. Cut Sol off from the grid. Her command crew scrambled, but the readings only intensified. Beyond the viewport, space itself seemed to bend. Stars dimmed, light curving into a vast shadow blooming across the void. Liang whispered. What is that? Mara stared into the distortion. Consequence. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the distortion collapsed. The sensors cleared. Energy levels dropping, Liang reported. Whatever it was, it's gone. But Mara didn't move. She kept her eyes on the empty space, the faint memory of darkness still imprinted there. No, she said softly. It noticed us. Weeks later, the crisis faded from headlines. The Dominion stabilized the outer sectors, and reconstruction began. Yet Mara knew the galaxy had changed in ways data couldn't measure. The Dominion now stretched across hundreds of worlds. Trade routes reopened. Former Council species pledged allegiance to the new order. Still, late at night, she returned to the bridge's observation deck, alone. She gazed at the map of the stars humanity now governed. The network pulsed softly, a web of light binding civilizations once divided by fear. Exile was their punishment, she murmured. Empire was our answer. Liang's voice came from behind her. And now? She turned slightly. Now we hold what they never could, unity. But unity has a price. We'll pay it when the time comes. He stepped beside her, quiet for a long moment. If Thalcor was right, if something out there is watching, what then? She looked back to the stars. Then humanity will do what it always has. We'll face it.